Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
My name is Scott Walker. I'm the owner of Moveall.com. Got locations here in Manchester, Connecticut, and in Charlotte, North Carolina.
I'm Bob Waldron. I work for Scott. I used to own the company, and I sold it to Scott many years ago and went to work for him.
Moveall.com is a group of small businesses from logistic companies. Do senior and elder care moving, do packaging and shipping, fine arts, antiques, and then your standard basic household goods moving, local and long distance. We provide full service moving. So if you literally wanted us to come in and pack everything, we'll pack everything for you. And we'll move everything, we'll unpack. We're a full service mover. So we're going to give you whatever you want in the line of moving. But ultimately, if you're looking for cost savings, get as much of the packing and clean out done before we get there. Do as much packing as you possibly can that you feel comfortable with, because ultimately most moves are done by the hour unless they're interstate moves. So anything that's going to reduce the amount of time that I'm actually on your clock working for you is going to save you money. And ultimately that's usually the biggest goal that people seem to find. They want to save money and get a good job done for a reasonable price. So if we have to come in and we spend 2 or 3 days packing up all your stuff that you didn't clean out to begin with, and then you realize the day of the move that you've got 2 truckfuls of stuff instead of 1, and then you have to deal with unloading it and then unpacking it all. The more you can do, the more you can clean out, the more money it's ultimately going to save you, and the less hassle you're going to have on the other end when you're trying to unpack. The more time we have, the better to move you, to make arrangements. One of the things I suggest is having a little bit more time, contacting a mover, and then go through and weed out some of the things that you don't need. Like a good idea is possibly getting a dumpster put in your driveway and throwing away everything that you don't need or haven't played with in the last year and a half, because there's no sense in having me pack it up and move it for you and then discovering while you're unpacking it in your new house, what the heck did I ever save this for? I don't need this. So it helps minimize the amount of move, helps reduce the costs, and overall just, get some house cleaning done. People have a hard time parting with their belongings. You may not have seen that particular Christmas ornament for 5 years, but all of a sudden, you know what? It brings back some type of meaning, and you can't get rid of it. And you need to keep it another 5 years.
Really plan what you're going to take, get it laid out. We want to, as we're packing a house ourselves, sometimes we want to work on the dining room or another room. But you may find things like, for instance, paintings or mirrors. You want to pack those in like-size containers. So I recommend you go throughout the house and have one place where you're going to put your mirrors or your framed artwork. And then you'll see, okay, 3 of these would fit in a box of this size. And so it just makes it a little bit better coordinated.
I think ultimately picking your mover is someone that you feel comfortable with and that you like. You should definitely interview 2 to 3 or 4, however you feel comfortable with. Find out who that person is and get to know them. Find out who that sales guy is. Feel comfortable with that person. Not all moving companies are alike. We're a dedicated mover, so we work strictly for you and get that move done from start to finish for you. No one else's stuff is going to be on our truck besides your stuff. We do background checks. They're W-2 employees. We don't hire any day help. I want to know who the people are that we're bringing into your home. It's safer for us and safer for you, and we want to make sure that you feel comfortable with the employees that we have that are going to be working in your home. We've got a good group of people that work for us too. I mean, the men and women that do work for us work hard. I truly believe that they take pride in their work, which is important, especially these days when it's not so common anymore. it's not just us as the leaders of it, it's everybody, and having good crew leaders and good office staff and everybody working together ultimately makes the experience a lot easier and a lot better and a lot more professional for our clients. And that's the ultimate goal, is making sure that you're happy at the end of the day when we've done everything to move you and get you settled into your new place. That you hired us to be the company that you trusted to move you. We take pride in that because my name is associated with the company, Moveall. I want to make sure that we do the best we can. We're not perfect. We do make mistakes. And unfortunately, the moving business, or part of the moving business, is things do get broken. But ultimately, at the end of the day, is how we handle that situation, and rectifying the situation to your satisfaction. That's the ultimate goal. We want you to be happy with us, so we're going to do what we have to. If we have to replace a piece of glass or a mirror, or we've got a great guy that works with us who's a wood refinisher. If something happens to get scratched or damaged in some way, we have the resources to fix it and get it replaced and get it back to your satisfaction. Licensed, insured, across the board, have to be. We get audited as a licensed mover. We do get audited by the North Carolina and the Connecticut State Moving Authorities, and they want to make sure that we're doing our job right. I have a 48 state moving authority, so we can move anybody in the continental United States through the Navis pack and ship. We can pretty much move you anywhere in the world. With regards to the interstate moving authority, we are technically licensed in every state. If I have an office in that state, then I have to have a local or state moving authority. But as long as I don't have an office there, I can go on my interstate moving authority. They're not full tractor trailers. They're what they call straight trucks, probably 26 feet. And there's a couple of smaller ones too, because some of the assisted living communities that we move into don't necessarily have room for a large truck. And most of the time, we're moving people into usually one-bedroom apartments, sometimes two-bedroom apartments, depending on what their needs are and whether it's a husband and wife or just a single adult. But most of the time, communities will accommodate one of our trucks.
There's insurance on the truck, and there's insurance while the truck is in motion and carrying your items. The insurance, or valuation more properly referred to, is to cover your goods if they were to become damaged or lost or missing. And that is an optional insurance or protection. In most instances, you're automatically covered at 60 cents a pound, not to exceed $40 or $45 per article. And you can purchase additional coverage. You might have a very valuable dining room set, and you want to insure that for a particular value. Or you may want to insure the entire contents of the move against any kind of damage. And those valuations are available. And usually most movers will offer some sort of deductible where the cost of the valuation protection would be somewhat less, depending upon how large your deductible is. It's something that you really want to discuss with your mover. You need to have the discussion before the job begins. You can't have it after it arrives and something breaks.
We're not just an ordinary moving company, because of the packaging and shipping end of things adds a special dynamic to the company itself. A lot of times, especially in the senior and elder care moving, they're downsizing, and the way the family's so spread out these days with regards to, they're not just in the next town over, they're a couple states over, and there's a lot of distance in between. There may be some family heirloom or special piece that holds some type of special value for that particular person, and they may not want the whole dining room set, but maybe they want the armoire, and we can get that there to them for them in a safe and professional manner. So I think that's what sets us a little bit more apart from most run-of-the-mill moving companies.
I bought the business about 22 years ago, I bought it from a family in South Windsor. And the original business, or the founding business, was A&A Movers. It was established in 1950. Through several years, I had a franchise that was called Packaging Store, and that when Scott and I bought and sold the business, he bought the Packaging Store. A sister franchise is called Navis Pack and Ship. More fully encompasses everything that we do, and so we converted the Packaging Store to a Navis Pack and Ship. And at that time, when Scott and I started working together, he had already established Moveall and More, and it was a company that had a excellent reputation throughout Connecticut and the Northeast. So it was a pleasure to meet up with Scott, and it's been a pleasure to work with Scott.
Same here with you, Bob.
Over the years. Scott, through his prior work experiences and everything, knew how to run a business and knew how to work hard. And there's nothing easy usually that you get paid to do. This is very demanding and can be very hard work, especially when you're dealing with deadlines. If we're moving somebody and the move takes longer than anticipated and it's 9 o'clock at night, we have to have that truck empty and ready to go the next morning.
Well, if the situation arises where, and it does occasionally with like house closings and stuff, things don't necessarily go right. So there may be a day or two a holdover because some of the closing paperwork wasn't correct, or is there a situation arose in that sense. There is a holdover fee usually, depending on who the movers are and the relationship you have with them. Some may choose to waive that fee. If it's going to be a longer period than one night, you may have to put it into a longer storage. We provide remedies for both situations, so we can certainly put your stuff into long-term storage if something was to happen that you weren't able to move directly into your new place. And if there's just a simple glitch in the closing process and you've got to hold your stuff overnight, we can hold it for you.
Particularly at the end of the month, it's the busiest time. And to hold the truck with your stuff on it may require that we have to make arrangements to obtain another truck, which isn't necessarily the easiest thing to do at the end of the month. But if it's middle of the month, middle of the week, there's more flexibility.
By accident, I got into the moving industry. A friend of mine who, she worked for a company called A Place for Mom. I had a masonry construction company. I did that for about 35 years, and the market wasn't doing well a while back. And one day she asked me if I'd help move a client of hers into an assisted living. And I said, sure. Why not? And one led to two, and two led to four, and I started talking to her a little bit more about the whole aspect of why some of the larger moving companies don't have a desire to help move an elderly person from down the street to an assisted living up the street, and they said there was really no money in it, but there is, and it's a helpful thing. And I got into it, and I saw the joy that I brought to a woman that we had moved, and she wrapped her arms around me and gave me a big hug, and with tears in her eyes said that I saved her life and helped her move from out of the house that she was living into a safer environment, which was the assisted living. And I kind of got sold right there.
I was in banking and finance, and then did the management consulting for 7 years. And wanted to find something that was closer to home because I traveled all the time. And, I looked at various franchises, and I kept coming back to this packaging and shipping franchise. And actually, just strangely enough, I spoke to two people who were very successful in that business, and they both had a banking background. So I felt like it's about time to stop looking and do something.
Well, we're still working on the expansion we're on right now. Charlotte's still, we've only been in Charlotte for, less than 3 years. So it's coming. It's a work in progress. I've got some good people down there that work for me, and we're growing. We do obviously a lot more business up here in Connecticut. We're we've been established for a lot longer. I mean, obviously, Bob's been around for a while, and the company's in existence for, what, 50, 60 years now?
Right, since 1950, the A&A Movers. That's a long time.
Like I said, the people that work for us do an outstanding job of making sure that, you know, they take pride in their work and that they, you know, ultimately do a good job. They can go to Moveall.com and they can find us, and depending on what service they're looking for, once they're on our website, they can click on the different logos. There's A&A Movers, Move Mom and More, and Navis Pack and Ship, and it'll take you to the right area, what you're looking for, and help you answer some of those questions. And then obviously there's the contact information that you can reach out and contact one of our 2 offices. I still got a lot of time left. I'm not going anywhere soon. It'll continue to grow, and possibly opening up another 3rd location in somewhere in mid-state Florida, probably on the agenda down the road. But right now I'm focused on Connecticut and Charlotte, and getting Charlotte built up to the point where I'm happy with that. And then we'll see what happens in the next couple of years.